In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Dear friends and fellows in Pakistan and abroad, today we are going to talk about something which is actually the need of each and every human being, particularly the people who are struggling, struggling to succeed, struggling to achieve their goals, struggling to somehow reach their destination, to have what they wanted to have. Our today's talk is dedicated to those people. And what is the title of the today's talk is that what are the essential basic ingredients of success? After thinking so much, looking upon so much of the material, I came to know that there are only two basic ingredients of success, although there are many things which could be very useful one, which could be very beneficial one, but still there are two very basic, and these two are directly in our own control. The two of these things are directly in our own control. Certain things which could be very useful, but obviously these are not lying in our own control, because if at all we are born somewhere else, whether in a developed country or an undeveloped country, whether in North America, Western Europe, or somewhere in an underdeveloped African country, these are certain things which are out of our control. If at all we are born with a golden spoon in the mouth, or we are born in the family of a poorest person, so these are the things which are out of our control, and we have absolutely no control over it. But there are certainly such two things which are directly in our own control on the one hand, and which would be called as the basic ingredients of the success. First of all, we need to understand that it is a kind of constant struggle. It is a kind of constant fight. Fighting with whom? Obviously, we do have to fight with the outer world. We do have to struggle with the people other than we ourselves. But the very basic struggle is that with we ourselves. The struggle, a kind of struggle with we ourselves. We do have to keep fighting. We do have to keep struggling with whom? With we ourselves. That is something very basic, something very basic indeed. Actually, why? Because there will be a time you will not be willing to work. A human being want to enjoy the leisure time, a human being want to relax, and a human being want to entertain oneself. All of these things are good and not bad at all, provided there are two conditions attached with it. Number one, that it should be done in the evening, or in the time which is meant for the relax and which is meant for the entertainment, and definitely not during the opportunity time at all. There must be an opportunity time during which we should be found struggling, we should be found working, we should be found struggling, and we should be doing whatever we can to achieve, to attain the kind of success we desperately need and want. The other thing is obviously the entertainment and the rest and the relaxation. All of these things are good if at all these are not somehow addictive, if at all these are not something which could be called as a destructive habit, if at all this is not a destructive habit at all, and it is rather helpful, it is a healthy one, then it is obviously permitted. But during the time to relax, there should be a time to work, and there should be a time to relax. An opportunity time must be consumed and must be spent while working, while struggling hard, while working smart and hard to achieve one's goal. But as for the time for the relaxation is concerned, as for the time time to entertain, to amuse oneself is concerned, obviously we must be permitted to carry it on, because these things are the recreative activities, and every recreative activity actually it replenishes us, and it makes us more willing and more ready to work for the achievement of our goal, to work for the attainment of the for the to reach the kind of destination we are found desperate, we desperately need to reach. And obviously, to be able to call ourselves as a successful person, we need to attain, we need to achieve certain goals which we have clearly defined, and which we have defined already. This is something which must be done and which must be dealt with. Number two, first of all, we should be kept working, we should be kept struggling during the opportunity time, to the amazement of many, or maybe to the amazement of most or all. It is not the resistance from outside which is going to be a kind of detrimental factor, which is going to become a struggle, which is going to become a hurdle on our way to success. Rather, it is the resistance from we ourselves, because the human being usually don't want to struggle that much, don't want to put oneself in that much of pain. The work must be taken seriously. But if at all a person is sick, if the health of a person is at stake, there we need to stop, we need to relax, we need to be confined to bed. If at all we are suffering from any sort of ailment which demands a kind of complete rest, we need to be on the medication, but we need to take relaxation. We don't need to work at that time, we must not be working, because the health must be considered as one of the top priorities in our life. The health must come first and foremost. Dear friends, we need to keep working, we need to keep working, we need to keep working, we need to keep struggling, we need to keep striving and struggling to reach our destination, to move forward bit by bit. We need to do that. That will take us toward our destination. This is the number one thing. The number two thing is, the essential ingredient is that our decision making must not be emotional one, must not depend upon must not be very biased one, must not be prejudiced one. Rather, it should not be emotional at all, it should be logical one, it should be rational one. The more of an unemotional thinking, the more of an unbiased thinking we have succeeded in developing, believe me or not, it will help us tremendously in making the rational decision, the better and the good decisions, which are going to take us toward the success, which is going to take us toward the happiness. And we do need desperately all of these things, dear friends and fellows in Pakistan and abroad. Unless and until our decision making is a very sound one, unless and until our decision making is a very unbiased one, I think we will not be able to succeed, to achieve whatever we wanted to achieve. Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khair.